going to be a member of county assembly. They're the ones who pass the bill for wherever you are. And then everyone else kind of follows in tune. So part of the challenge is, I think, in terms of civic education, voter education, I agree with him 100%. These things need to happen. We have too much talk about candidates. But then it makes no sense for the candidate if you're not going to get elected.
Felix?
It's extremely high, actually. And you would want to imagine that the 2017 being the second election after the passage of the new constitution, that the numbers of rejected ballots would have reduced, because this is the time that we actually experiencing voting for 6 different elective offices at the same time. Civic education or voter education started much late this time around. But I also want, looking at the numbers as we're seeing them being projected, one can't help but draw a parallel with the 2013 elections, when soon after transmission of results or display of results began at Bomas, it emerged that the numbers of the rejected ballots was giving the top 2 candidates almost a run for their money. And that the rejected, in fact, there was the narrative then was that the rejected, but the spoiled ballots was number 3 in that contest. The question that I would have, I'm asking myself is, what is the procedure, what is the protocol of resolution or reconciliation of these results? What we are seeing, unfortunately, is just the totals. The totals. And maybe at Bomas, they probably have the benefit of observing different results being displayed at the same time. But if we are seated here and all that we are seeing is, numbers being, adding up and rejected ballots adding up, then a number of questions, of course, come. The parallel with the 2013 being one of them. What is the protocol or the process and the procedure of reconciling these ballots? And clearly, from the results that we are seeing, and I'm sure we'll be able to talk about them, what I'm seeing also is that the results transmission seems to be skipping an extremely important step, and that is the constituency tallying center, because these results are coming from the polling stations. But the law is clear, the constitution is clear, the ruling by the Court of Appeal is clear that the procedure for the reconciliation of presidential ballots must begin at the polling station, Form 34A, to the constituency tallying center, Form 34B, and then to the national center. But what we are seeing, so I'm asking myself, are we having the total picture here? But I guess that's a conversation that we can have.
And I think part of that is one of the challenges of the law that was passed last year, because that law anticipated that Bomas would be, the election amendment law anticipated that the National Tally Center would be the port of call for the presidential elections in total. So what it then provided is that you'd have provisional results from polling stations sent electronically directly to the National Tally Center. Now, the assumption then was that they would then, in fact, at some point, probably even be able to announce a provisional result for the presidential election. But you see, they can't do that, because even if they have these provisional results from the polling stations, until the final results from the constituencies are declared, even if they have the numbers, those numbers don't mean anything. So there's a confusion that was brought about by the law as was passed and the decision of the Court of Appeal. And that is what the Commission is struggling with, because on the one hand, they must display, the law actually requires an open public portal where those results are being displayed.
We're actually seeing it here.
But those results are provisional. The National Tally Center has no legal capacity to declare presidential results as final results. So they still have to wait for the constituency results. But I think the earlier we get the final results from the constituencies, that's the only time that people can start signing off and saying X has won or X has lost. It's still very early in the day.
And I think that's a good point, Trace, but also look at the fact that as we are sharing these numbers, the mood is being created, okay? And what you have said is critical, but it needs to be repeated that these results are provisional, that the final results will come. And I think I like the idea of provisional results, partly because of what we're talking about earlier, communication.
It's true.
There needs to be constant, we need to kind of start seeing the numbers as they come up and as they're coming, so that people can go back and check, did this constituency actually have this at these voting stations?